What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Tuesday, July 2nd, 2019. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the busiest lady in the business, Andrea Renee.
What's good, Greg?
I like this skirt.
Oh, thank you.
It's very colorful. It feels very summery.
Yes, it's very fun. So you can't really see that. You can kind of see a little bit behind the...
There it is. You can hold it up.
It's just one of my go-to summer dresses because you just like throw it on and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I need more of.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? This is my go-to Spider-Man Far From Home shirt.
It's pretty awesome,
We're seeing
though.
Spider-Man tonight. I'll wear the symbiote. You know what's up? Woo! That's what it's all about. You excited? You gonna go see it tonight? Me and Kevin are seeing it tonight.
I don't think I'm seeing it tonight because we're shooting our Game of the Year so far episode for
Stop
What's
being
Good.
the busiest lady in the business.
Gotta work, Greg.
I hear you.
It's so I can go to a barbecue on the 4th of July and not have to worry about editing and posting the show for Friday.
Smart.
I want to get it all done tomorrow.
All right, well, you do that.
Yeah.
Kevin and I are going to the movies. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about a follow-up on the Dr. Disrespect story, a last-minute PlayStation Plus, Switch, and more, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday here on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, podcast services around the globe. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show, patreon.com/kindafunnygames. There you can ask your questions, do everything else under the video game sun. Then if you want, you can tune in live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. Watch us record the show. If you're watching live, you have a special job. Go to kindafunny.com/you're-wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and listening on podcast services around the globe. Housekeeping for you RTXs this week, and all of Kinda Funny is going to be there. Come to our signing Friday. Come see our panel Saturday. Number one is Kinda Funny, We Need Your Sub More Than Funhaus at 2 p.m. Then Michael Jones and Greg Miller, Let's See What Happens at 5:30 p.m. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Colton Yoder, Blackjack, Mohammed. Today we're brought to you by UPSTART and EXPERIAN, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 5 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
And no matter what
Oh, with
Andrea says,
gusto.
whatever Andrea says about number 4, it is a news story.
not
And
a
it is a
news
real.
story.
But the number 1 news story is actually a follow-up to something we talked about last week. Guy Beahm, of course, Dr. Disrespect, put out a statement about his Twitch ban, the bathroom incident, and all that. To bring you up to speed, if you've been living under a rock and missed Gary Whitta last Whitta Wednesday, ranting and raving with me about this, at E3, Dr. Disrespect, a well-known Twitch streamer, obviously incredibly popular, went into a bathroom and live streamed there. This got his E3 badge revoked. This got him banned from Twitch for, as it turned out, 2 weeks. Dr. Disrespect came back. Twitch reinstated him those 2 weeks later. He came back, didn't say anything, and now he's put out this statement. And I shouldn't say he has, because of course the person who portrays Dr. Disrespect, Guy, put out this statement on his personal thing about the whole thing. Let me digress and read it. I'd like to talk about Dr. Disrespect's Twitch ban from E3. This was my first IRL stream as the doc, and if it's not obvious by now, one of the things I try to stay true with is authenticity. Real life personas are so difficult to pull off, especially in today's society. Doc is edgy, highly opinionated, cocky, etc., and that certainly adds to the difficulty in staying authentic without offending anyone on a deeper personal level. When we were walking around filming at E3, we clearly weren't thinking about the laws/repercussions of filming in the bathroom because honestly, it wasn't in our mind frame at the time. We were sort of all in with the Doc live stream experience and capturing the E3 event through the character. We were so into E3 IRL journey that we became a little blind in what's okay and what's not okay. We had no ill intentions, and I feel that was pretty obvious if you watched the entire thing. We wanted to capture an adventure. Unfortunately, we took that adventure into the wrong areas, unaware of the legalities surrounding it. On behalf of the Dr. Disrespect brand, I apologize for this. I've sat back and absorbed a lot of opinions on this incident and the aftermath. I think those that have followed me for years outside of the character, even before Twitch, know what kind of person I am. I have an incredible support system from family, friends, business partners, community, and following. I'm very lucky to be considered an influential person in the entertainment space. Believe me, I don't take this for granted. We are working on a lot of things, parentheses, that take time, that will hopefully continue to elevate the brand and gaming entertainment as a whole into the mainstream space. I have a ruthless passion for creativity, for entertaining people, for making people laugh, growing new tools and tech, etc. This incident was a step back, but like anything, we learn, become stronger, and move forward. If you follow the brand or myself, I hope you continue to stay with me on this vision. This statement got posted yesterday. I read it. And personally, and I can only speak for myself, I was like, I get it. I understand. I listened to Khalif Adams, of course, a friend of the show, Spawn on Me. I listened to his podcast about way before today's incident. I think it was before the apology, actually, but I could be wrong now. But he came up with a whole bunch of great points, and it was similar to when Gary and I talked about it last Widow Wednesday, being like, well, what the hell do you do? And the Khalif's point on the Spawn on Me was like, what do you have to do to get permabanned? Like, what do you have to do to get permabanned on Twitch if the number one streamer, or one of the number one streamers, can go out and do something this and break California privacy laws and do all this live and blah, 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 and just get a 2-week ban, a slap on the wrist, right? And Khalif was like, it should have been a permaban. It should have been that if you're going to come back, fine, but all your proceeds for a while need to be donated to charity, right? Because similar to when the doc had the whole thing after Game Awards, where he was like, I've cheated on my wife. I need to take time off. When he came back, that was such a huge boon, right? Or Khalif calls it cake, which I'd never heard of and I liked a lot. But it was this huge boon, and it was a huge stream and all this stuff. When Gary and I were talking about, we were talking about it actually before he had gone live. So we were like, we know it's going to be a big stream. We know it's going to do all these different numbers for him. And if you're Twitch, how do you do this? And what I had wanted was an apology. And so jumping from that, reading this apology, for me personally, as someone who does dumb shit on camera all the time and fucks up all the time, it rings true. And I've seen a lot of people picking it apart for saying the Dr. Disrespect brand, you know what I mean? For it seeming like he's hiding behind the character's antics and that. For me personally, I read into it as, no, it would be like me saying, we hear it kind of funny, understand we fucked this up, blah, blah, blah. Dr. Disrespect is the company as well as the character, as well as the person, which makes it really convoluted. And I get that, whenever somebody wants to say, oh, he's trying to be edgy in quotes, you can throw that back in his face, right? But I do understand he's playing this character. When I'm playing, and this is a different thing, but similar, when I'm doing the WWE IGN esports challenges, right, and I'm being heel commentator Greg Miller, and I'm yelling at Xavier, right, or when I'm on hardcore tabletop and I literally spit on Chilled Chaos's hand, I did it and then sat back down, and the thing moved on far enough for me to go like, oh, sorry, are you okay? Like, I'm sorry. Like, that was a canned production, blah, blah, but in that moment, I was in character and I did it, and then I was like, wait, fuck, he doesn't know me well enough. If I spit on Michael, no big deal. I can powerbomb Michael, nobody's gonna care, but spitting on somebody I just met, a couple hours ago, or, I don't know well.
Right.
Different ball of wax. So I've been there when I've pushed it too far and then been like, fuck, what do I do? And so for me, reading the statement, I was like, and again, this goes back, and this will immediately blow up in my face. This goes back to what I said in the Gary episode. It goes back to what Tim has been talking to me about recently of like, we, mainly me, Greg Miller, but we kind of funny have to stop believing everybody's a good person. And I read this yesterday and I was like, okay, he's learning. He's doing something different. Andrew, what was your take on this thing? Am I totally off base?
No, you're not. I mean, we were talking about this a little bit before the show went live today. As people who have an online and public presence and personas, we're under more of a microscope than the average person is. And what's tough about that, as you mentioned, is that you almost don't get permission to make mistakes. And the moment you do make a mistake and you reflect on it, being able to have an adult conversation about it with your audience can be sometimes really challenging, because people, it feels like, are so quick to jump to being incredibly angry and upset without stopping to critically think about what actually took place and what actually happened.
Sure.
When we look at it through the lens specifically of what Guy did as the persona Dr. Disrespect, and let's be clear, they are one and the same. I
think honestly, I think it's interchangeable outside of the tweet. The fact that Guy is the one who tweeted out the apology, which I get, because to an extent, I think that should have been retweeted on Dr. Disrespect's Twitter, probably, but I digress.
If he made more appearances as Guy, I would be able to swallow this pill a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But he makes incredibly few. Even while he's out at events, he almost always is in costume, is in character.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit more difficult for me to believe that this is Guy making an apology on behalf of Dr. Disrespect, the brand.
Yeah.
That to me is like, okay, I kind of want to be like, sure. I'm coming at it with a heavy dose of skepticism. I think the reason why it rings so false to me is because it feels like he has to keep making apologies for things
100%, right?
that he's done. And like I have said this before when we've had discussions about several other prominent streamers and YouTubers and whoever, people that are doing, controversial things, saying, you know what? Being on camera is not easy. A lot of times, sometimes in the heat of the moment, things come out of your mouth that you're like, fuck, that's not what I meant to say. It's not what I intended.
You get cut off mid-thought, and then somebody on the internet runs with that as that was your full thought. And it's like, well, no, I was going somewhere, but they said blah, blah.
Things get taken out of context quite easily. And so I saw the apology and I was like, sure, this is just something he has to do to protect his sponsorships and his advertisers and people that want this apology to go forward. Because clearly his fans don't care.
Yeah.
His fans didn't need this apology.
Yeah.
This apology is for everybody else who does not watch Dr. Disrespect.
Sure.
To be like, okay, he's fine now. People like Gary who were like, meh, he apologized. I'm good with it. Let's just move on and stop instead of continuing to talk about this. But then the thing this morning just felt so petty and so juvenile.
So again, the statement goes up, like you said. I mean, Gary's not here to talk. He'll be here for Widow Wednesday tomorrow. But the initial thing, Gary saw this today. Somebody included us in it, right? And was like, I think, everybody should protest Twitch because they're not taking action. And Gary's like, I read the apology and I think let's just move on. You know what I mean? Like that was enough for Gary as well in terms of like, okay, there is an apology, which that's the thing. And it's so hard because we're in the same boat as being internet people on your phone, on your podcast, on whatever, that I think the Kind of Funny best friend relationship is very special, but I think when people see our thumbnail or something on it and don't know what the content is and flip out about it and don't know us, it's so hard to get the genie back in the bottle. For me, again, like looking at this, I was like, wow, maybe I was wrong. Because even when Gary and I were talking about it, I was like, we're not going to get an apology. And that's just me based on never meeting Dr. Disrespect, only seeing his content, seeing occasionally, seeing, a clip on Twitter, seeing him tweet something funny where else. I was like, we're never going to get it. We did get it. I was like, oh my gosh, like maybe I do have the wrong idea about Dr. Disrespect / the guy as a performer or whatever, like this thing. And again, maybe I still do. Maybe I'm still trying to fucking do it. Hours after the apology, where you're like, okay, cool, this is going on. He's moving forward. He's actually addressed this. Cool. Dr. Disrespect seems like he is as cool as you want him to be. Hours later, Kotaku had reported on the apology, right? Nathan did. They put up their piece. They were, then there was a Twitter thread where people were yelling about the piece. A guy on Twitter mad at the reporting about Kotaku tagged Jason Schreier from Kotaku and was basically like, hey, this guy sucks. Nathan's article is clearly biased. He hates Dr. Disrespect. They should have let a real journalist like Jason Schreier do it. The guy kept going back and forth with other people, but kept bringing Jason into it. And Jason finally tweets, I don't know why you keep, and this is in the replies, I don't know why you keep tweeting at me about this, but Nathan is an excellent reporter, and I stand by everything he's written about the toilet streamer. Right? To which Doc then responds to that Jason Schreier tweet. I wouldn't worry too much, Neil. No one in the community knows these guys. Kotaku's growth is spiraling down faster than Schreier's hairline. To which Jason responds to that one. Lol, good one, but that's not actually me losing hair. It's the Jason Schreier brand. Now, great. That was a great comeback, right? Now, this is where we're going to get into a million different edifications.
Before you go on to that, it's also worth noting Dr. Disrespect then goes out of his way.
No, hold on, stick with me. I want to get to that. I'm not stopping. I think that there's three main parts to this story.
To connect before we get to this.
Correct. Because that
I'm on this journey with you, Greg.
Thank you very much, right? So there's the apology. He's learning something. Maybe this is all good. Maybe for once, Greg wants somebody to be good people, and they're all good people. Then this thing goes off, right? And I'm not ignoring the fact that in these mentions, Jason ends it with the toilet streamer, right? Which is clearly a dig. Right, which I can understand getting you angry to bring Doc out of it, right, and be like, Kotaku's growth is spiraling down faster than Schreier's hairline. I think that's a way bigger dig of a personal attack, malicious attack, than it is to call him a toilet streamer based on what he's done, right? But
he streamed from the toilets. So.
I know exactly. Don't get me wrong. Exactly. Well, I mean, and like literally, bro, Jason's hairline is receding. I guess, right? I don't follow Jason's hairline.
I don't
but
either.
Stick with me. Is that okay? Fine. That's all in replies. That's all in you guys yelling at each other. That's bickering, not in the public eye. The next one, right, is this tweet that's a tweet that is to all of Doc's 1.09 million Twitter followers, I believe. And it's, hey guys, Jason Schreier here, editor for Kotaku. Analytics show that Kotaku is on the uprise, averaging 3 to 5 likes per tweet compared to 1 to 3 likes 1 year ago. I also wrote a book about video games. I don't want to brag, but it's a favorite here at the offices. I hate myself. And that's a blast tweet to his 1.09 million.
And it's a close-up photo of Jason's face, looking at his hairline, and it's just disgusting.
Yeah.
It's low, it's mean-spirited, and it's completely in bad taste.
Now, for the record, Jason then comes back and dunks on him and responds to that one and says, hey, man, like I said, I'd be happy to chat anytime. If it makes me feel more comfortable, I can Skype from the bathroom. Like, Jason, and I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm just saying Jason isn't like that. And I'm not even here to fucking, Jason needs a fire brigade of people to help him out at all in this thing. What I'm here to say is like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And like, I get, when Gary put up his thing today, it was in response to a Kind of Funny best friend who was like talking about it. Gary's like, the apology was good enough. I responded with these 2 tweets, right? And then that for me is like the encapsulation of like, like, what the fuck? You didn't learn anything. And somebody responded to my tweet to Gary with the 2 things saying, dude, this is Dr. Disrespect's character. That's who he is. To which I then scrolled back through April tweets for Dr. Disrespect. And not to mention, this got buried because of how, Jason's a bigger name, I think. But right below the Jason tweet is one of him, Dr. Disrespect, doing the exact same thing to Nathan. Making fun of Nathan for just the reporter now. And his article, with all due respect to everybody involved, I did not think was leaning one way or the other, like Dr. Disrespect sucks and here's what happened, here's this shitty apology.
So I have the article up that Nathan Grayson wrote. The title is, Dr. Disrespect apologizes for E3 bathroom stream, quote, on behalf of the Dr. Disrespect brand, which is pulled directly from Guy's apology. So, very non-inflammatory headline, just stating the facts. And then he details the incident. He details the apology that Guy published. And then he editorializes a little bit at the end, saying, on one hand, this was a much needed apology. But on the other, it reads almost like Beahm is using his character and his brand as a shield against accepting full responsibility for his own actions. Beahm is the Dr. Disrespect brand, so it's odd to see him apologizing on behalf of it. After all, Dr. Disrespect is a character created and played by Beahm, and presumably Beahm is in full control of his faculties when he's playing that character, regardless of how much he's yelling. Other streamers also attended E3, but Doc was the only one to stroll into a bathroom with a camera multiple times, no less, despite messages in his chat and on social media saying it might not be such a good idea. That's the
extent of the editorializing.
And you guys can read it for yourself. It's on Kotaku.com.
And so to clap back that hard on these 2 guys, and like I'm saying, what I was driving with the April thing is there are no other personal attacks. Here's what I know of Dr. Disrespect, right? I know that I haven't seen it recently, but he hasn't been streaming recently and everything. I know for a while Andy would watch him out there, and I know that I'll see funny clips. And from the clips I've seen of Dr. Disrespect, I've been like, man, this guy's funny. I like the character.
He's an excellent streamer.
I fucking love the heel persona. Obviously, I play it all the time in any number of videos, right? I love it. I get it. I think he's doing it well, right? I know since this came up, there was somebody pointed out the thing he had done with like a Chinese accent, where I was like, ooh, and he had a reason for that, and it didn't seem like it blew up, and I don't know anything about it other than hearing about it on top of all this. But even putting that aside,
it was bad.
Is there a good way to do that? Is there ever a way of like, hey, everybody, white guy here, I'm gonna do some kind of racial humor and like have it be like, you know what, you gotta pass this time
because you did it so well.
Exactly, you nailed it. I'm laughing too hard. All of that aside, it's like, that's what I knew about him. And so then, like I was saying, I don't know him well. I don't follow him. And this isn't me like being like, oh, I'm so great. I just don't follow him. So I scrolled back through April, and like the closest things I could find was he was like taking a shot at Shroud about how them having a beef on Twitter. That's clearly like me and Xavier having a beef on Twitter. Like there's a context to it. I do not think this is a angle that Kotaku, Jason, Nathan, and Doc Disrespect are playing, right? It's going out there, and even if it was his character that he's talking at and yelling at him in, to then motivate this audience. Do the 1.09 million Twitter fans know that this is just him being his character, and Jason and Kotaku actually do a lot of great reporting, and they shouldn't be getting torn apart for saying this fucking thing about this and giving a little bit of information?
It's incredibly exhausting to the sense that, like, I mean, come on, dude. This is the hill you're going to die on. I think the thing that is getting lost here, and the reason why some people are still incredibly upset, is that you know, taking it back to what Khalif was mentioning about the lack of punishment. I know when you're in Gary's discussion, you talked about him breaking the law and how there hasn't been any punishment. And the thing that I think is important to remember is even if you didn't have intentions of breaking the law, even if you just got caught up and you didn't mean to, you still did it. I didn't mean to run that stoplight, officer. I didn't mean to jaywalk, officer. I didn't mean to do this. But
you meant to jaywalk.
You know what? You still did it. You know what I mean? And there's still punishments for doing it, even if your intentions were in the right place. And that's the thing that's missing here, is that he violated a very serious privacy law that exists for a very important reason. And the fact that there was literally no punishment for him at all, I think, is the reason why people are still incredibly upset. And for him to go after a reporter for reporting the facts of the situation just seems disgusting to me. And quite frankly, I think like Twitch needs to take a stand. I think you and I making a stand against the platform doesn't make any sense because we have no control over the platform.
Well, clearly they wouldn't care.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's also like how the river, I mean, like if you wanted to do a giant organized thing where everybody who's usually on Twitch goes and streams on YouTube or Mixer, maybe.
Yeah.
But again, like it's what Khalif was talking about, right? Is the idea of that when Dr. Disrespect comes back to Twitch after a ban, a 2-week ban, right? With no real statements before of what's happening, why this is happening, how he's being held accountable.
I think Khalif said like something like 6 months feels appropriate, or maybe that was Gary.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sliding scale depending on who you talk to, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the problem is that there is no. I mean, Twitch has clear terms of service that when we talked about it originally, clearly the bathroom stuff violated, but then there was no communication from Twitch and there is no court from Twitch and there is no statement from Doc on how any of this happened.
Right.
What Khalif's point was on Spawn on Me, right, was the idea that when Doc comes back and has a banner record-setting day on Twitch, so does Twitch. It's not, you know what I mean? Like that money obviously is shared with Twitch in terms of your revenue split. And so like, of course Twitch wants that to happen and wants these things to happen. And until they're willing to say like, what Khalif brought up, right, of being like, cool, it's an apology. And then even behind the scenes that they would have worked out that all the donations today, all the tips today are going to whatever charity are doing this kind of thing. Like, I feel like there's a way to do it. And I understand that there's an argument to be made that Dr. Disrespect is a character. And so Dr. Disrespect apologizing doesn't make sense because it's not sincere because nothing he does is sincere. And him on stream doing this thing and giving all the like, you can creatively work that into a bit is Dr. Disrespect on stream. Dr. Disrespect can easily retweet Guy and be like, just retweet it out of what's going on here. Dr. Disrespect broke character with the stuff with his wife, right? And that's their personal business. I'm not trying to get into it. But it's here and it's the internet and it's Twitch and people understand what's going on, right? And some of the funniest clips I've ever seen of Dr. Disrespect are him breaking character and laughing at something that's happening in game or that he said or somebody said to him, right? Like there's a thing there for it. There's an avenue for it. There's a forum for it. And just the way, again, it's just I can't fathom. And I understand that I'm sure people look at what I do on the internet all the time and can't fathom what the fuck I'm thinking. But like I can't fathom putting out this apology yesterday, trying to get back on track in terms of just the good graces thing or whatever mainstream thought is of you, and then the next day being like, now I'm going to go after 2 reporters from Kotaku publicly. Like that's my plan. Because again, for what I'm scrolling back through, right, it isn't even like the normal brand. If I was to scroll back through and see him taking shots at people left and right and doing all these different things, and again,
if he was like, you know, like the insult comic dog, right? But like that's not his bit, is to like constantly insult people. And I think this goes back to what I've said before. I tweeted about it before E3 started, this idea of punching up and not punching down.
Sure.
This is a guy who has a massive following, who is incredibly influential with a lot of his viewers, many of which are, you know, in middle school, in high school, potentially even younger, who idolize him as an online entertainment personality. Watching him punch down and go for the lowest common denominator, bullying tactics at the sake of comedy, which I'm putting in air quotes for everybody listening because I don't think he's trying to be funny. I think he's lashing out because he can and because he thinks he's better than Jason and better than Nathan. And that to me is the disgusting part about all this, because we can look at Dr. Disrespect's antics and go, it's just part of the bit. Much like a guy like Howard Stern is a shock jock, and it's part of his bit is to be really kind of like edgy and glaring, and a lot of people don't like him because of that. But at the same time, there needs to be some kind of responsibility for these streamers, YouTubers, personalities of all kinds to look at who's listening, who's watching. And essentially what Guy did here is say, it's okay for me to bully somebody because I think it's funny. And if you're making a joke, then you can bully somebody. And that's the really gross part. Yeah.
And that's the problem with it, right? Is that, I mean, I've learned the hard way as well of, you know, in the old days, it would be a quote tweet of a troll being a troll to me and like, hey, this blah, 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 like, and me making fun of them or whatever, and then washing the dog pile. And then it, you know, the last time I ever did it, it wasn't, hey, I'm doing this. It was very much like, hey, don't be like this. This is an example of how you shouldn't be as a human being, let alone someone on the internet right now, right? And the reaction to that was like, oh no, people don't read. They don't get the nuance of what I'm saying here, which was like cool. It was like, no, now we're gonna. I'm like, whoa, no, don't be 20. Okay, cool. We won't do that anymore. Like that's not how we're gonna do it. So to come out and to do these tweets and put these things out there, like, and you know, you talk about being a character. Like the reason heels work in wrestling is because the faces, the good guys, always eventually get it over, right? Bobby the Brain Heenan eventually gets carried out of the arena and thrown into the trash or put in the chicken suit and whatever. And it's like you see that public comeuppance. When there's no comeuppance, right? When no one's ever winning in the thing, like what are you to believe, right? And that's for me why I'm just so fucking I'm just done. Like I'm so exhausted with it. You know what I mean? Because I'm sick of not being able to trust people anymore. That at their heart they're good people. That they're trying to do the right things. I'm sick of trying I look at Twitter in the morning and it's more horrible fucking shit in our industry of just people who can't, like we sit here and we talk about it all the time of bullying and we talk about being better people and we talk about trying to spread positivity, and it just seems every day somehow that message is not the one that wins out, and instead it is everybody fucking screaming at each other about the stupidest of shit. Like we always want to play video games. Why is that such a thing that we have to turn into fucking culture wars and battles? And why is it that for somebody I think who is legitimately funny, and again, I'm not a Dr. Disrespect. I don't know his entire library, right? Like somebody's put in here, the nanobiologist puts in a PC Gamer article for context. Dr. Disrespect making fun of Chinese accents was in response to PUBG releasing in China without region lock and leading to a higher number of cheaters on the servers. Not good, but just want to add context.
No, but if you watch that clip, that's not what it's about. That's a very public excuse.
What I'm doing is saying I basically didn't know about that. When I'm saying Dr. Disrespect's funny, I'm not saying that. That is not funny.
But that plays into his idea, this whole excuse that a lot of his followers have been spouting on Twitter this morning of like, that's just the Doc brand, man. He's just always in for the laughs. He's just making jokes. And it's like, no, but he can be better though. He's a very talented entertainer, and I knew him back in his machinima days, like on YouTube before he ever became a Twitch streamer. And like he's been doing this a long time, which is why he's so good at it. Yeah. And it breaks my heart a little when you see somebody who's worked so hard to build their career and deserves the success because they've put the time in, kind of squander the influence they have by being a bad dude. Yeah. Like be a better dude. You know, whether you think that you deserve or want that responsibility is I think irrelevant. You've got it. You know, like this idea that celebrities all the time come out and say, well, I never wanted to be a role model. I'm like, well, you're sure taking money from your fans. Sure. You're taking money from your viewers, from your subscribers with no qualms. So I feel like you have to accept the responsibility of what that brings with it as well.
100%. And I know, and I get it more than most that's a learning experience, right? You don't knock it out of the park the first time, but to do it hours later, you know what I mean? Literally hours later to trip on your own success on this way of like, I thought the apology was good. And I thought that this was going to get him going in the positive direction again. And then immediately fuck it up on this way in a way that, like, granted, I know we're navel gazing, we're the video game media, whatever the fuck you want to call us. So we're all paying attention in a way normal people aren't, you know what I mean? Correct. Like lots of his viewers don't watch Kotaku. They don't understand who Jason is, yada, yada, yada. But like that doesn't excuse it.
Yeah. No, of
course
not.
Be a fucking better person. And again, like, he is legitimately talented. He is legitimately funny. He can. I even think when the tweets I was reading, right? Like, how would you have done this differently? Like, I think dunking on Kotaku is totally fair game. Kotaku's a website. It's a .com. It's a company. That was a funny joke. Like that's fine. That doesn't hurt someone personally.
That's the punch up versus the punch down, right?
Exactly. Right. You're attacking another brand. Good job there. You know what I mean? But like to go after two reporters there and be an asshole about it, like what the fuck?
And like tweeting at their faces. I really hope he deletes it. I really hope that he has a moment of reflection at some point and goes, yeah, that wasn't cool. Also, like, it's not worth his time to go around bullying people. Why doesn't he just turn his stream on and start making money instead of taking time out to bully people on Twitter?
I mean, that's the big thing too. You're talking about having an audience and having a platform, right? Like you're right. That's part and parcel with it, is that everybody's going to shit on you. You and I get shit on all the fucking time. And I don't sit there and quote tweet all these people and drag them into the mud and yell at them, right? I mute them and I hang out with the kids who actually want to hang out with us. That's how you work on it. That's how you do it. Everybody just needs to be fucking better people. I'm so sick of this.
Yeah.
And I'm sick of sounding like I'm the fucking grandfather of video game. I'm not perfect. I know I fucked up. Go ahead and post all the comments about the times I fucked up too. But come on, man. Number 2 on the Roper Report. PlayStation Plus has a hot swap. This is from the PlayStation blog. Update. We're making a swap to the PlayStation Plus games lineup for July. This month, we're adding Detroit Become Human Digital Deluxe Edition, which also includes Heavy Rain, to the July games lineup instead of Pro Evolution Soccer 2019. We apologize for any inconvenience. Here's more information about what Detroit Become Human is. If you didn't know for some reason, don't forget that that's coming out with Horizon Chase Turbo from July 2nd to August 5th. Andrea, what the fuck just happened?
I don't know.
Because this one, if you remember, we read it here on the show. And I was like, oh, Pro Evolution Soccer and Horizon Chase Turbo. It's like, what a weak month. And that, like, and I know that, like, don't get me wrong, and same thing with everything else on the internet. Every time they put up a PlayStation Plus post, or a PlayStation Plus free games post, it's like, what a weak month, blah blah blah. But when I'm sitting there going like, I don't know about this month, that seemed to resonate throughout the internet, and they said, obviously millions of other people said on their own, to then get here where it's like, okay, cool, the day of, we're swapping it out and putting this other game in. It's like, oh, okay, but there's no why. Like, if there would have been a note from them, it would have been helpful of like, hey, it's because we heard you loud and clear, and these are 2 niche games, and we want to give you a better reason to have this. Like, what? I don't get it. It was a weird pull at the last minute, literally the last possible minute.
I think you're maybe reading too much into it.
Let me know.
I think this is probably just like, hey, we had to line up some kind of agreement or licensing or royalty back end, and then they always wanted these titles in, and now they're in because they were able to get it done at the last minute.
But so why pull out of it? I mean, first off, Pez isn't even, well, I guess neither Detroit. Good call, Greg. Well, no, it is actually. Whatever. I mean, the deal with Pez would have been written, right? What did they tell Konami, or what did Konami say that made this switch up?
I don't know. Maybe it's something about the way that Pez has their monetization structure set up. They were like, hey, we could make this work, but then we couldn't. Or maybe Konami changed their mind about how much money they wanted on the back end, because these PlayStation Plus deals are rarely free. They always come at a cost to PlayStation. PlayStation subsidizes these games being in for free. And so it's important to remember that Pez is one of Konami's most profitable franchises out there. And so potentially what happened was they just weren't being offered enough money on the back end to be giving this game away for free.
See, I don't buy that. I don't buy that from you, because I mean, like, you know how contracts work. It's not it's not like Konami's like, all right, we're gonna sign that any day. Go ahead and announce it. And then, like, the day of, the day before?
Japan, though. But Japan.
Japan
makes a lot of, like, really wild decisions that you kind of got to go, okay, that's a thing that you decided. At least from my experience looking at, like, Japanese business deals that, I've gotten some information on in the past that things that an American or European company would do is sometimes quite different than what a Japanese company would do.
Fair. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we ever get even a Schreier behind the scenes what actually happened report on this, right? Because it is, okay, like...
Are there a lot of people that are upset about this?
Was it the fact that the audience was so upset that they thought the lineup was weak, or is it the fact that something business-related happened and they had to make this last-minute ditch effort to switch everything up?
Do we know when the next one's coming out?
The next Pez?
Yeah, let me look here.
I don't know, fall?
I'm guessing.
Winter, spring?
Because maybe what they wanted to do is pull it now so that way it launches right before the new game comes out.
Yeah. Again, I'm just saying.
What are you laughing at over there?
I had a really funny comment while you were gone. It's fine.
Oh.
Because you're like, when's it coming out? I'm like, I don't know, fall. And I did all the other seasons too, so I just covered the entire year.
Oh, thanks.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. The comic relief.
September 10th, by the way, is the release date of Pro Evolution Soccer 2020.
Crushed it, everybody. Yeah. I don't know. Did the internet win, or is it something in the back end that happened? Inquiring minds want to know. Shuhei Yoshida, call me.
When it comes to PlayStation,
I doubt it was a contract thing, though. I doubt it was a contract thing.
Greg, I'm just posterizing because you asked me to think of a reason.
No, I didn't even ask. You said, I don't know. You said, like, you didn't believe me, like you had inside information. Who do you know, Konami?
Nobody. Hypothesizing.
By the way, Kebabs writes in to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and says, I thought Horizon Chase Turbo was a really great game. I've heard that from a lot of people, actually. I think somebody, when I was like, this sounds like a weak lineup, everybody's like, ask Tim, that game's great. I don't know why Tim would know about it, because Tim's an idiot. But for sure, everybody said Horizon Chase Turbo was great, but no one ever said that about Pez, and now Pez is gone. What happened? Nobody knows. Unsolved mystery. Robert Stack, where you at? Number 3. CD Projekt Red is on 3 different Cyberpunk games. This is Matt Kim at IGN. A report from Polish business website Bankier revealed that CD Projekt Red's president and CEO issued a statement that the company is working on 3 Cyberpunk-related projects. We already know what one of these 3 projects is, the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077. But based on a Google translated version of the report, the CEO said that the next big CD Projekt game will also be set in the Cyberpunk universe. Quote, our next big project will be in the Cyberpunk universe, and we're already working on it and treat it as a really big and innovative product for us, he said via translation. The 3rd Cyberpunk project in development is reportedly a multiplayer mode for Cyberpunk 2077, allegedly developed by a 40-person team at CD Projekt Studio in Warclaw. Each of the 3 Cyberpunk projects reportedly are being developed on their own teams, while a 4th team is continuing development on the Witcher card game spin-off Gwent. CD Projekt has not confirmed this multiplayer mode for Cyberpunk 2077, but IGN has reached out to CD Projekt for comment on the reported quotes and the other potential Cyberpunk projects. Cool. Just finish 2077.
Man.
Just finish 2077. I am not at all worried at all in the least about this multiplayer mode for 2077. Just let me get in there, let me choose my background, start in my own area, play the damn game.
Yeah, this sounds like something that would come post-launch, like Red Dead Online.
Yeah. Exactly. Something to keep you engaged right after you've gone
Exactly.
through.
So they release their big
you.
giant game, and then they add this because they've spent all this time and money building this world. They want to do more cool stuff with it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
More Cyberpunk's good.
Can you believe they announced that game in 2012?
No.
God, that was so long ago.
I know. We were so young. Whole
Almost
life ahead of
though.
us.
Spring 2020, Greg.
Here we go, everybody. Probably.
Probably.
Number 4, a real news story. Ghostbusters, the video game remastered,
This is
is going
not
to
a
be
news story, Greg.
$29.99, and it's only going to be available at GameStop.
That's literally it, you guys. He wants that to be on the Rope Report.
Right?
Kevin.
What?
First
You're
off,
on my side
30
here.
bucks.
Hold on a second.
$30 for the great game.
Yeah, that's
and then
awesome.
only available at GameStop.
That's weird.
It's not weird. It's GameStop. They do these kind of deals all the time.
Do they? What other game came out like this?
For retail only,
Oh, is it retail only?
Yeah, you'll be able to digitally
you can
buy it
digitally
anywhere.
download
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
on the
But like,
platform.
you can't buy it on Amazon? That sucks.
GameStop, man.
This is not
Where the players
abnormal.
play.
Is it not? I
No.
don't know. I don't buy retail
GameStop
games.
gets special deals for retail all the time.
Andrea, I haven't bought a game in so long. I just get them for free. It's
That
great.
sounds like a Kevin thing to say.
Gold, your ivory tower over there. You know?
It's great. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The only thing I put it in there is like I saw it, and so many people on the tweet were like, "Oh my god, it's like Epic Game Store, but in real life."
I'm like, you guys haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, they
Oh my
do
gosh.
it. They do. I would be hesitant to say a lot, but I know it's happened before
Yeah.
a bunch even. And not even including like the game I like a lot from Insomniac that they published on their the GameStop label. That's totally escaping me.
Spider-Man.
Oh, I know exactly the game
God, it
you're
was so
talking
good
about.
with Marin. Oh my shillelagh.
Oh my god.
She was Irish. That's why I said it.
Let me
Song of the Deep.
Song
Yeah,
of
there
the
it is.
Deep.
Song of
Yeah,
the-
yeah, yeah.
I'm
Of
in
course.
the
Like,
complete phase. Okay, put that
And
in.
I'm sure our friends at twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames can think of some off the top of their head. that were-
Shawnosaurus Rex and
that were
Euron's
GameStop exclusives, yeah.
Borderlands Game of the Year was GameStop exclusive physically. So yeah, it happens.
They do exclusive hardware with Nintendo quite frequently.
Xenoblade Chronicles and Metroid Prime Trilogy were released only at retail at GameStop, says Borzen. Again, I'm not saying I'm not like Kevin over there being like, what the fuck? But I'm just letting you know, possibly Game of the
Yeah.
Year, Ghostbusters the video game remastered.
Possibly
only
Game of the
physically.
Year.
I'm sorry, Greg, that I don't know everything. Okay.
You sit over
And
there,
I'm not experienced. with
Absorb all the
shopping
information. Only
like a
$30 though too.
sponge.
Only $30 though. No multiplayer mode, right? At launch.
Still doesn't belong in the Rope Report.
Just let me
Next
know.
up,
Number 5, Shenmue 3 refunds are going out for Steam people. This is Matthew Handrahan over at GamesIndustry.biz. Kickstarter backers of Shenmue 3 will be able to get a refund if they requested the PC version of the game due to YeezNet and Deep Silver agreeing on an exclusivity deal with the Epic Game Store. So basically, if you were expecting to get your Steam code and you don't want that Epic Store code, you can get a refund now. Keylocke from patreon.com/kindoffunnygames writes in and says, so I got an email from people working with Shenmue 3 to let me know that there will not be a Steam key for it, and I will be getting an Epic Game Store key because of an exclusivity deal. So first, I want to say I don't really mind, and it doesn't change my attitude at all towards the game. Parentheses, it's still technically on PC. The weird thing about this is that it's a Kickstarted game that got money from crowdfunding and basically changed the promise of it landing on this platform. Like I said, it doesn't bother me, but I'm sure there is someone out there who are angry, parentheses, even though they can still play it on PC. Does this possibly show that even though something was Kickstarted with the promise of landing on this platform, it can change and backers can't refund if it is on the platform they wanted? Sorry for the long rant. Well, again, they're saying you can refund
they are
this one,
refunding,
Keylocke.
yeah, which is the right move. We dive really deep into this Epic Game Store exclusivity issue in the episode of What's Good last week.
And where can I get that?
You can get that on podcast services around the globe, just like Kind of Funny Games Daily or at youtube.com/whatsgoodgames. So my point was, I think going forward, the reason for exclusivities is clear. Tim Sweeney very clearly said it's because they're trying to disrupt Valve and force them to address their 70-30 split revenue model.
Right.
And I think that can now be done. We already know why the exclusives are there, and you guys know my feeling on exclusives. All the other hardware platforms have them, and nobody's bitching about that. So my point was,
That's
however,
video games. People are bitching about it.
it's true.
Somebody's bitching about
I
it
said,
somewhere.
who's bitching about not being able to play Pokemon Sword and Shield on PC? Nobody. Where are you bitching about that? It's an exclusive.
Yeah,
Anyway, I digress.
Got him, dude.
I mean, I did. I got him. My point was, though, specifically about games that announce for Steam and then later do an exclusivity deal. That's not cool, bro.
Yeah.
Because if you tell your player base and your customers and you accept pre-orders, like in the case of Metro Exodus, for example, that it's going to be available on this platform and then you change your mind to do an exclusivity deal, that's not cool. But I think what they're doing is the right thing here. They're saying, hey, we get that you might be upset about this and we're happy to refund your money. So really, you can be like, oh man, I'm disappointed, but you get your money back. So if you choose to remain to be very upset about this, I kind of think you have not enough things in your life to be upset
Andrea, they're
about.
robbing it from the platform you want to play on.
But you can still play it on PC, as Keylocke so eloquently says.
I mean, in parentheses, sure. But you know?
Sure you can.
Yeah, exactly, in parentheses. Alex Russ writes in and says, this is kindoffunny.com/you're wrong, but I'm going to let it go. Mighty Number 9 promised a Vita version, but did not release a Vita copy. They have yet to come out and say the project has been canceled entirely, and instead have sent a PS4 code. No refund was offered when this happened. So there you go.
Yeah, but that entire thing was a shit show. I think we all
Sure,
agree
of course.
on that.
Of course. I'm just saying, though, they're doing it the right way here with Shenmue.
Right.
3. Adam Boy's over there sending out codes left and right. You know what I'm saying? Whatever happened to him. I mean, you see him blowing up on Reddit?
Oh, yeah,
Him
the
and his
Oculus
Tesla,
Quest.
his Quest.
I love all the
place.
photoshopping people are doing. If you
Yeah.
don't know what we're talking about, our friend Adam Boyes, who used to be a VP at PlayStation and is now the CEO of Iron Galaxy Studios, is very big into new tech. He's got a Tesla, and they were charging the car, and while they were waiting at a charging station, he and his son were both playing an Oculus Quest game, sitting next to the Tesla supercharger with their headsets on, and his wife
Just in public.
took the photo of, because she's like, they look so silly just out there standing next to this Tesla charger with their Oculus Quest on, and then she tweeted it, and man, it went viral in a way she
blew
was
up.
not expecting.
It's great.
But it's a really funny photo.
Yeah. Andrea?
Yes.
I'm excited to see the next piece of tech Adam Boyes gets.
Yes.
But that'll be so far from now. If I want to know something more relevant, like, say, what came to the Mom and Grop shops this Tuesday, where would I go?
Why, Greg, you would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform, as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show host each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today. First off, Richard Walker at PlayStationTrophies.org says, Ubisoft has announced that today sees the beginning of a new Rainbow Six Siege limited time event, a Wild West cowboy-themed affair dubbed Showdown. Set beneath the burning sun of the new limited time Fort Truth map, the event includes exclusive content and a tension-filled 3v3 mode with a limited HUD and arsenal. Also, Spider-Man PlayStation 4 is getting a free piece of update DLC today. Spider-Man Far From Home upgraded suit and Spider-Man Far From Home stealth suit are available in the game right now for free.
Barrett is excited about that.
Looks so cool.
They do look really cool. Will A Wonderful World is on PlayStation 4. Final Fantasy 14 Stormbringer's expansion, expansion is on PlayStation 4 and PC. Vizar Delta is PlayStation 4 Switch. Red Faction Gorilla Remastered is on Switch. Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator, is on Switch. Soccer Kid, PC. Gourmet Warriors, PC. Volon, PC. Victorian Mysteries Woman in White PC. Red Dead Online is kicking off its celebratory week with 30% bonus in Red Dead Online money and XP on all free roam missions, plus several festive offerings, including free red and blue camp flags until the 8th of July, 50% off red, white, and blue bandanas, and more. Then PlayStation Now is adding the following games: Borderlands, The Handsome Collection, Dark Arcana, Arcana, I can do better than that, The Carnival.
Can you though?
Yeah, I did. MXGP3, the official motocross video game. NBA 2K Playgrounds 2 on, these are all PlayStation 4, except for one coming up, and I'll tell you about it. Nightmares of the Deep, from the Deep, 2, The Siren's Call, Rad Rogers, Rapella Fishing Pro Series, Real Farm, Red Faction 2 on PlayStation 2.
That's weird.
Rocket League, Tachyon Project, and Whoopo on PlayStation 4. New dates for you. Cuphead's DLC has been delayed. The delicious Last Course has been moved to 2020 outside of 2019. And then Ancestors Legacy is coming to Xbox One this August. You added some stuff.
I
too.
did. The independent game publisher, gaming company, and developer Pixelated Milk are proud to announce that Warsaw, a technical World War II RPG set during the Warsaw Uprising in 1944, will launch on September 4th, 2019 on Steam.
Nanobiologist in the kindafunny.com/you're says, we missed a You're Out today. Apex Legends Season 2 is out today and live for all consoles. Thank you, Nanobiologist, for keeping us honest.
Prove it, bro.
Andrea,
Yes.
it's time for Reader Mail. But first, I'm going to tell you about our sponsors. Let's go with Upstart. As most of you have found out the hard way, getting into debt is easy, getting out is hard, especially if your FICO score isn't great. Thankfully, now there's Upstart.com, the revolutionary lending platform that knows you're more than just your credit score and offers smarter interest rates to help you pay off high-interest credit card debt. Everybody's heard me. I've struggled with credit card debt. I've struggled with debt in general.
Dude, who
It's
hasn't?
yeah, right? It's pretty common.
Debt's the worst, but we all got it.
Upstart goes beyond the traditional FICO score when assessing your credit worthiness. They actually reward you based on your education and job history in the form of a smarter interest rate. Upstart believes you're more than just your credit score. They believe in you, and they understand that. They make it fast, simple, and easy to check your rate in just a few minutes without affecting your credit score. The best part? Once the loan is approved, most people get their funds the very next business day. The next day! Over 200,000 people have used Upstart to pay off credit cards, student loans, fund their wedding, or to make large purchases. Free yourself from the burden of high-interest credit card debt by consolidating everything into one monthly payment with Upstart. See why Upstart is ranked number one in their category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot, and hurry to upstart.com/KF Games. Upstart.com/KF Games to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate takes only a few minutes and won't affect your credit. That's upstart.com/KF Games. Our next sponsor is Experian. You know, the better your credit score, the easier it is to get the stuff you want or the less you have to pay. So the question is, why is it so hard to raise your score? Now, it won't be thanks to Experian. They've launched Experian Boost, a brand new way to instantly increase your credit scores for free. A higher credit score can help you establish and get access to credit and preferred rates for the things you want and need in life. Experian is on a mission to help boost America's credit score, which will help millions of people across the country build and get better access to credit. People all across America have already raised their credit scores with Experian Boost, and you should too. For the first time ever, paying your utilities and cell phone can instantly improve your credit score. Experian Boost works by giving you credit for the bills you're already paying through your bank account, like water, gas, electric, cable, and cell phone. It used to take months to raise your credit score a point or two, but with Boost, you can increase your scores instantly. As I've said all week long, of course, I had a credit card. I thought I paid it off. I thought I closed it down. Turned out they dinged me with some finance charge. Sat there for years, screwed up my credit. This would have been a lot of help. We can't believe it's taken so long for someone to do this. What are you waiting for? Experian Boost can potentially help you establish or increase your access to credit. Boost your FICO score instantly for free. Boost is only available at Experian.com/KF Games. That's EXPERIAN.com/KF Games. Andrea, where do I want to start?
Let's see.
I'm going to start where it's just Arvel. Arvel wrote into patreon.com/kindafunnygames and says, I've been playing around with the Oculus Quest in the last month for quite some time, and I instantly fell in love with the wireless VR of the device. Now that PS5 is more and more approaching, I'm starting to question how a second generation of PlayStation VR will look like. Do you think it will be physically tied to a PlayStation console, or do you think it could become a standalone device such as the Vita VR? What? What are your thoughts on the next generation?
VR, yeah.
What are the PlayStation VR? Andrea, what's going to happen with PlayStation VR?
Well, we're certainly going to get an evolution because with the more powerful console, they can do faster processing. And I think that PlayStation VR absolutely needs an upgrade in terms of its the lenses it has inside, right? Like, it's a really great piece of hardware, but it's obviously not the most technically savvy piece that's on the market.
Yeah.
It's just the most convenient one before Oculus Quest came along, and now that's even more convenient. I don't think that we're going to get like a standalone device like a Vita that goes along with it. I would love to see a wireless PSVR.
I think where we're at right now with home VR, the next PlayStation VR needs to be wireless. It has to be wireless, right? Because that is the future. I don't think it needs to be like Quest, where it's all built into the headset and the controllers. I think it is still anchored. It's still talking to your PlayStation 4. You're playing everything off your PlayStation 4. And I think that's honestly good for what Sony wants out of this device. I don't think Quest is such a game changer for schlubs like me that don't have a good PC, where I can suddenly put on and have like better VR, and I don't have to be anchored to, even wirelessly anchored to a giant PC tower. I think for PlayStation, they want you to buy a PlayStation 5. So the idea that their wireless headset connects to the PlayStation 5 is good for everybody. I bet you get better controllers too.
Absolutely. And I think we can also potentially look at them doing what Oculus did and making a split SKU, right? Doing one that's more casual, more approachable, and then doing a higher end one that's really pushing the boundaries of innovation with VR graphics and VR processing. Because I think about a game like Asgard's Wrath, which really left a big impression on me after having played it on the Oculus Rift S as one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen in VR. It's like Stormland and Asgard's Wrath to me are like at the top right now. But that's only possible when you're connected to a high-powered device like a PC through a tether, through a cord.
Right.
And so I don't know what that would look like for PlayStation VR, if there would be a high-end version and a low-end version, or if they're like, maybe we don't want to split our base that way. I think it really all depends on what developers are creating software for those devices, and if that software is compelling enough to sell units, because I think, Oculus is really going to have to watch the Rift S closely to see, how many units are they going to move with these high-end VR games, because the market for people who are playing those games still feels really, really small.
Sure. I think that... Yeah, you're 100% right. I think, Quest is the one that has a chance to break out in terms of that. When you take it on the road, you show it to your people, you show it to your family, they think it's cool, they get onto it. For PlayStation 5 and PlayStation VR 2, we're just going to say, right? I think it's very important to the messaging, obviously, that they've already said PlayStation VR current models will work with the PlayStation 5. So there already is the normal, hey, you want to get in at incredibly cheap, because I'm sure they'll be marked down, or like even at discounts to shops. You can get that way. And then when they introduce whatever PlayStation VR 2 is, it'll be... it has to be wireless, but I think you still get the processing power of it, right? Because it's just about beaming Bluetooth thing. Kevin, you're smarter than me. With the HTC, we have that wireless HTC Vive we've used before.
That requires a PCI Express graphics like chip. Not a graphic, it's a wireless chip that you put in the back. So it does require an add-on. It's not just through Bluetooth.
Basically like a fancy dongle.
If I was doing, but if I'm doing,
fancy.
for a place, so knowing more about the technical side, PlayStation VR 2, how would I make that if they're for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation VR 2?
I think realistically, making it wireless is not what they should do.
Really?
Because that limits it you'd have a battery then.
Okay.
And then it's the concern of like how long would the battery last.
But that's what Oculus Quest is working with right now.
It's true.
See, I think you have to, because for me personally, it's well documented on these shows that we love PlayStation VR. Obviously, we have a season 2 of that show coming up. But like, I adore my Quest. Like putting my Quest on and playing, it's the craziest experience. And taking off the Quest and putting PlayStation VR back on. PlayStation VR has always been the most comfortable headset.
The headset feels better.
Putting it back on and having that tether, it's like, oh God, this feels like I'm going back to the 80s. It sucks. So like they have to address that for PlayStation VR.
And I think having the battery part is
minimal,
kind of moot, because almost all of our devices have batteries. The DualShock 4 has a battery that you have to charge.
People complain about it all the time.
Sure, but they use
still
it.
play it all the time.
True,
We all have so many.
And that's
of
the
them.
other thing too, of with VR and even PlayStation VR 2, what's your longest session going to be? Like your average session is going to be pretty short.
Yeah, I'd say like 20 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, exactly, right?
For most people, yeah.
I'd like to hope that we're getting to the point where there's going to be longer sessions with games like Trevor Saves the Universe, Trover Saves the Universe, and
sure, no, and Blood and Truth.
Blood
I know that there are.
Both are.
I'm not saying that we're hitting the cap. I'm just saying for most people, I think you and me going home and playing those games, I don't know if most people play them in one sitting. And that's like, obviously, I'm sure everybody in the chat's like, I do, but I mean, like, what about other people? I don't know. Like, I
don't. I can't be in VR for more than like 30 to 40 minutes at a time.
I think I saw Amy Gills in the chat saying like, what if it just has the option to go wireless? That would be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be hot.
Plugged in.
Yeah, that'd be really good actually.
But I just don't know. Like, that would require, like, I would imagine in like a dedicated streaming whatever link that it
You mean
needs.
like a Nintendo Switch type concept for PSVR where you would have like a dock of sorts with a cord if you want to have more of like a high-end powered experience that doesn't require battery, and then you could detach it from the dock and you would have to charge it if you want to bring it on the go. I mean, that sounds cool.
I don't necessarily mean that it could go on the go, but like wireless in your house.
Yeah.
That would be
even
really cool.
with the battery pack in your house, right? In terms of like how much battery, that's something I see people on the subreddit Quest all the time getting around by having a battery pack in their pocket with a USB to it. Now, granted, is that truly wireless? Yes, because you're not anchored to the, like when I'm walking around my house and I step on it and I yank my PlayStation down, like this is in my back pocket or whatever I play. Yeah.
Now I heard Sam from Ars Technica talking about Beat Saber 360. Did you play that?
No, they wanted me to get over. I just couldn't get over to it.
Like the way he described it, I was like,
crazy.
Yeah, I'm bad enough at regular Beat Saber.
Is that what I think it is? Where you've got
it's all around
you have to turn all around you. Yeah, the beats.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
I'm sure it'll be on Quest soon enough. They know what's going on.
The Quest is so awesome.
Quest is amazing. Everybody should pick it up. Everybody should also watch PlayStation VR Show Season 2. We're recording them right now on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. They'll eventually be up on YouTube months from now. Just too much content. Me made it kind of fun.
Yeah. If you're a Patreon supporter, you can watch it when we record it live.
Yeah, and they're up as archives, I think, too, right now. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
No, we're gonna put B-roll over them, maybe, or at least graphics. I don't know. We know what we're doing. We're figuring it out as we get there. You know what I mean?
Oh, boy,
we're going to end with Richard. Richard writes into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, "Hey, Greg and Andrea, I just wanted to write in and thank you, parentheses, Greg, for the Moonlighter recommendation. I downloaded on Xbox Game Pass yesterday and have been addicted ever since. It is such an addicting gameplay loop that makes me wish I got it for the Nintendo Switch because you can either play it for hours or do a quick dungeon run. It also has made me think about other shopkeepers in video games and the struggles they must go through to keep their shops stocked. Anyway, I just wanted to thank you for bringing the game to my attention and for everything you guys do. Hope you have a great day and hope more people check this game out." I agree, Richard. Of course, you can get all my thoughts on Moonlighter on the latest Gamescast, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, podcast services around the globe, roosterteeth.com. Andrea's in a banana suit. Why wouldn't you watch?
I mean, Banandria Renee, everybody.
It's great. Really good discussions, really good stuff. Fran's there. He's got great hair. Everybody, it's time to squad up. This is where one of you writes into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You give me your name, username, platform of choice, and I read it here. The best friends come and find you, and everybody plays games together. Today, Oliver from England, oi governor, needs help on the PlayStation 4. PSN name is Probably Oliver. That's a good PSN name. All one word. What's good, Greg and Andrea? I'm looking for someone, parentheses, preferably UK-based, best friends. Let me try that again. I'm looking for some, preferably UK-based, best friends to play Greg's favorite game of all time, Ultimate Chicken Horse. If you watch Party Mode, you know, in fact, I hate that game. It'd be rad to get to know a few more names and faces before November 23rd, which is, of course, when the Kind of Funny World Tour rolls into London. Thanks for everything. I love you all dearly, Oliver. If you want to play Ultimate Chicken Horse on the PlayStation 4 with Oliver, hit up Probably Oliver on that there PSN. Andrea?
Yes, Greg.
We ask people watching live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up. So we can keep the record straight for youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, podcast services around the globe. We're good.
Good?
Yep. I inserted them as we went. We did fine. There you go. Not a perfect game by any means, but we got there in the end. You know what I mean?
I do.
Tomorrow host, Gary Witta for Witta Wednesday. Thursday, no show, 4th of July. Friday, no show because we are at RTX. Come to our signing on Friday. Come see our panels, 2 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. On that there Saturday. There is comedy, Kind of Funny comedy night that Saturday as well, but I believe it's sold out. So get one of those giant cakes, hide inside of it, have it be wheeled in. What do you got, Kev?
I was just going to add that there will be no screencast or Internet Explorers either.
Sure, yeah.
Just throwing that in there.
Just Friday, Thursday and Friday we're off.
Are those shows? What are those shows?
Got it. Fucking nailed it. Sadly, if you're watching live, KFAF is next. Ladies and gentlemen,
We're
this has been
friends.
Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a
there's no
variety of
need for
platforms,
that,
we run
is
you
what
through the
I'm
nerdy
saying.
video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show. Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Then watch it later. YouTube.com/kindoffunnygames. Roosterteeth.com. Podcast services around the globe. Come to Twitch. Give us your Amazon sub. Do all that stuff. Watch What's Good Games. It's great.
Yeah.
Watch Gary Wood on Twitch. He's great. If you see Andy on Twitch, just delete it. Just delete Twitch.
I
delete
know
it all.
his Mario Maker 2 clips are pretty
They are
fun.
so good. And it's that thing where it's like from whenever he started streaming, it's like, oh man, I wish he was doing it for Kind of Funny Games, but whatever. And then I watch those and I'm like, fuck, now we should have figured out a way to monetize his ass. You know what I mean? Because that's good content over there, Barrett.
It is.
Yeah. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.